So, good evening, good morning, good evening, friends from all over the world and members of Roti and the Rotary family. I also welcome the members of the IT Fellowship. Friends, today is the third speaker series of this term, 25-27. And today we have a renowned speaker on the AI, Rakesh Babuji. We will be doing his formal introduction. Let me give you a brief about Rotarians on the Internet. Rotarians on the Internet is one of the oldest fellowships. It is definitely not the oldest, but it's been here for around 30 years, since 95-96. And we have our stalwarts, Tom and Madhu, past chairmen over here. They can vote for it. Rotarians on the Internet was actually supportive to Rotary to come on the Internet immediately post millennium. Rotary took the support of Roti to come on the internet, all these online things that we are seeing. So we had an initial say in that. And we have around 4,000 members online. Our membership is totally free. Anybody can join. Just go to rotifellowship.org and put in your application. We will admit you. Only thing is the membership committee chair has to accept the membership. That's just a process. Once you do, we have a Google group, we have Facebook, and we are on WhatsApp. So we communicate that way. We have Facebook page, we have a Google group and a WhatsApp. So I would also request those who are not the members to please join Roti and let us grow. Thank you. And I once again welcome Rakesh, and I would request Martin to introduce him, please.
Yes, thank you, Vijay. Yeah, it's a pleasure to do that. It's my first meeting as the program chair for Roti, and it seemed quite fitting to look to try and introduce the modern an up-to-date topic of AI. I came across Rakesh because I'm a member of the WhatsApp group AI Artificial Intelligence, and I thought he would be. He's got a really good reputation and references, so I contacted him and through Gomathi, who has been really helpful, and Rakesh is actually the chairman of the IT Rotary Fellowship, so another fellowship. I'm actually the chairman of the Rotary E-Club Fellowship, so we're all coming together, and I think that's one of the good things about the internet and about the way that we communicate nowadays. So without any more ado, I'll hand over to you, Rakesh, for you to do AI Uncovered.
Thank you, Martin, and thank you, Vijay. So before I start, to just give you all a brief introduction about who we are. We are a very young fellowship. We're just about 1.5 years old, 18 months or so. And we are, again, free, just like you all, to join. And we have the purpose of starting this fellowship initially was to build technology in Rotary. Just like you all had the purpose of bringing people onto technology, we just wanted to build technology a little more, and AI being one of the focus areas. And knowing that we have quantum computing and 6G getting into the picture very soon, we also wanted to have all of that included. And at the same time, we wanted to bring in a lot of youngsters. And most youngsters these days, or all youngsters these days, are in some way connected to technology. And that's why you see IT professionals, because all of them are IT professionals in some way or the other, whether they are in the medical field, or they are into carpentry, or whether they are into manufacturing. They all are connected to the internet and at the same time connected to technology. And that's one of the reasons why we just thought. And this all started off during a board discussion with the Rotary Action Group for Community Economic Development, because we wanted to build the economy of the community. And we saw that the focus area had to be the demography of the youth. And that's when this whole thing uh, took birth. And from there, we also went on to start the e-club, which is called the Global Tech Innovators of from District 6950, which is in uh, Tampa Bay, Florida. Well, that's just a brief introduction. And thanks for Rebecca and Kitolo and Immaculate and Gomez to join and support this conversation. My purpose here is to just address two things. One, AI is no rocket science. It's a simple machine tool. And number two, AI is not here to replace anyone. And AI, in other words, AI is not here to take over the world. If I'm able to answer this by the end of this session, well and good. Else, you can use the Q&A to question me and question me more, and I'll answer you. Well, let's start. So, well, AI is not new, as most of you would know. AI has always been there. The industry is not uh, new to AI, nor is AI new to the industry. AI has always been there. AI has always been used by many industries. The defense industry used AI. The manufacturing industry used AI in a large way. And also the medical industry, the healthcare industry used AI in a very large way. Uh, if you look at engineering in the manufacturing industry or in the medical industry, it was all based on precision, and that was AI based. Back in those days, it started off with a lot of limitations. They tried a lot of algorithms and they tried to bring in a lot of automation, but they could not really work on the data that was required. Machine learning was limited, and therefore nothing much used to happen. Again, when it came to uh, automation, computation was, or computing power was very less, and therefore nothing much really happened, because of which nothing changed. Uh, but suddenly there were breakthroughs during the 90s and during the early 2000s. And that's when things changed with the induction of big data and the use of big data to teach machines. So coming back to the two questions, AI is no rocket science. So let me explain how AI is broken. AI is broken into very simple things. Algorithms, which all of you have been very familiar with. When you talk about, because you all have been on the internet and you all have seen and used various softwares. So now this software is built out of these algorithms, and now these algorithms are tested with supervised and unsupervised learning. And nowadays you have reinforced and self-learning as well. So there are four kinds of learnings. And what kind of things get into this learning? It's data, which again is studied and patternized and organized through data sciences. And then after you have NLP, that is natural language uh, processing, where the computer interacts with you. You no longer have to interact with the computer with codes and algorithms. You just interact with them with your normal language, and that's how Python is set up, and that's why Python is used to create AI uh, so easily. And then we have the neural networks, which is set up in the pattern of the brain, which is used by the machine to process all of what has been given and the process the world around it, to react to the world around it, right? So this is how it simply works. And now the neural network is divided into three. You have the input layer, and then the hidden layer, and the output layer. And that's where you given data, and the whole mechanism of churning happens, where the thought process and everything is worked out. And then after, you have the output layer. And that's about it. And now we have the main things in the different variations or variants of AI. All of us look at generative AI and think that's about it, and that's where it ends, and that's where it starts. But the truth is, generative AI is just the beginning. Generative AI is about creating text, creating material, creating videos, creating pics, and all of this. And that's why it's called as generative AI. And then after you have, but generative AI has a limitation, and that's based on what it has learned in that data set that was given to it. Now, when we talk about data sets, there's always a limitation of it being historic. When it comes to responding from or having a response from a generative AI model or an LLM, which normally that is uh, the other word used for it, we always have a limitation of the time that the learning ends. Now, this learning has changed, and that's where you have something called as a RAG. So from generative AI, we have moved on to RAG. And what is RAG? It's retrieval, augmentation, and generation. Now, what this does is it kind of focuses on getting its information from a vector database. A vector database is from a vector server where information is stored in pattern combinations called as fingerprints. Unlike the regular uh, digits or numerics, it now has a numerical combination, which is called as a fingerprint, and it receives information from that, or it kind of takes information from that and it processes it, and therefore you don't have the limitation of time there. It kind of gets you a processed, I would say, a processed creation from current data. And then you have the agent AI. Again, now there is a difference between agentic AI, which I'm going to be talking about, and agent AI. Agent AI is something where it uses generative AI, and then after it kind of gives you uh, an output based on the instructions that you give it. But it works semi-autonomously. Agentic AI is very autonomous. Again, it uses generative AI and it uses RAG, but it kind of constantly works on improving itself because there is an aspect of self-learning as well there. Now, these are things laid out, and this is how AI is right now set up. But how is it going to be helpful to us? How is this going to be helpful to us? How is this helping the economy? Do we have to fear whether it's going to be taking up jobs, or are we going to be uh, controlled by AI? The, if you ask me, the bigger question here has to be, what kind of guardrails do we use here to ensure that this does not happen? This can be weaponized. This can be weaponized, and therefore there have to be regulations brought in. And that's where organizations like yours and organizations like the IT Fellowship and organizations like the AI Fellowship and so many other fellowships come in, where we all try to push towards creating reforms, creating regulations. There are many governments working on it. Definitely, there are many governments working on it. But are they going to be really effective? Because, again, there are industries governing these things as well. There are several industries governing this. So, keeping all that, what is the big impact? The negative aspect of all this is that the data. Why has this been democratized? Why has this been democratized? Democratization is not free. All of these things are available for free, but why is it free? It's because of the data that is getting collected. It's because of the now data, as all of you would know, is what is the biggest resource in the world. And this is being collected abundantly by these bots constantly. Now, that's the fear, that's the one that needs to be looked at. And that's why we need to have guardrails to control algorithms and control the misuse of this data. Otherwise, talking about this, replacing professionals is actually not a big issue, because professionals are losing their jobs in some places because they are not able to adapt to the new culture or the new environment in any industry for that matter, because that's what is causing the big confusion here, the loss of manpower, because they are not able to adapt to the new situation or adapt. It's somewhat like what happened in the past. The dinosaurs, they were not able to adapt, and hence we lost them. There were many other species which were not able to adapt, and that's exactly what is happening here in the industries. Many of us find it very difficult to change with the change in environment, grow with the new introductions. And that's what has been causing the problem. It is not because these things are replacing the employees. The other concern here is about people not being able to, uh, I would say, uh, accept the the introduction of AI into the environment. And that's something that has the industry to blame, because this has not had a, a smooth transition. And that's what has caused a lot of friction among people. And if you look at uh, the kind of growth that industries have had, and the kind of uh, uh, data that we have had to work with, somehow the algorithms have not been able to uh, change the situation, because of which there has been a lot of uh, inconsistency in growth of the industries. I'd like to stop here and have some questions taken, and I'll continue with yes.
Yes, Martin.
Yeah. Thank you, Rakesh. I think someone's talking in the background. I can't hear you. Sorry, I'm just right. That's good. We muted them. Yes, thank you, Rakesh. It's an interesting sort of notion. I was watching something on the television the other day where one of the godfathers of AI, Yanish Kumar, was commenting about and giving warnings about the growth of misuse of AI. And so it's interesting to sort of get your take on it. One of the things that I think one of his compatriots, Bengio and Geoffrey Hinton, suggested, and I think they're working on, is to create a AI that recognises a world model as we as humans do. In other words, AI can become much more reasoned in its debate if they change the algorithm with regard to that. That leads on, though, to something that seems to be splitting the AI community in terms of some people regard the future of AI as becoming sentient and having feelings, and that is quite disturbing to the average person, I would say. And I think it raises all sorts of ethical questions as well. So I'd really just want to see where you stand on sort of that future in terms of, will it become sentient, and in which case will that be more of a danger? I personally think that it will remain as basically large model programming, to be honest, but who knows? So really, it's about that further development where the fearmongers suggest that it becomes sentient, and the outcome of that is very much that people are raising questions like, will AI have rights? And that raises all sorts of philosophical models and things. So I'd like to just take your view on the philosophical view of all of that.
Whether it's whether AI needs rights or not, uh, well, that's something that's too far away from now, because
Yeah,
rights are given to individuals, and
yeah,
we're still dreaming of AI embodiment. AI
yeah,
embodiment has been a failed experiment, and to see AI walking on the streets, having uh, pers- you know some kind of perceivable power, it's it's far fetched. It's going to take
I
uh,
think so.
decades, or it may not happen at all. It's somewhat like 6G. Many people claim that it's right there. It's just going to happen, but it's all failed experiments. So having uh, embodied AIs are not a reality yet, and so that's that's a problem of the future, and we should be crossing that bridge when we reach the bridge. So, uh, talking about AI now, AI is just simple machine,
Yeah.
and it's a very controllable, uh, system. It's a very uh, organized system. It's it's just amplifying what we've been able to do in a limited way, and it is helping us in many ways. So one of the things that I would also want to speak about maybe a little later is about how AI has been used in Rotary projects and how it has changed the way Rotarians have approached various issues locally. We have tried several pilot projects around Bangalore because that's where most of our members are located, and Bangalore happens to be the IT capital of India, and therefore there are a lot of work happening there. Uh, we've been able to, because I live here in the United States, I've been able to have many of these companies here, which is, uh, I live in a place called as Raleigh, which is a part of the Research Triangle, a hub in the east of the United States, which has almost all kinds of IT companies, and therefore it's considered the Silicon Valley of the East in the United States. And so we've been able to collaborate with many companies here locally and do a lot of projects there. And at the same time, we are also trying to initiate a lot of things in Africa as well. So uh, we'll talk more about it shortly. But yes, Patrick, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to concur with you that AI is not dangerous. It's not going to be taking over human lives, but it is a tool. Stu Martin, who is a member of the Water and Sanitation RAG Ops Committee, is done a lot of work with AI. We were talking about it just yesterday in a meeting, and well, I've been working with computers. I've been around computers since I was 10 years old. My father began working with computers when I was a little boy. He and I built one when I was 15. It was simple. It was basically a calculator, but I've been around them. And my father made a comment, having worked with computers for nearly 30 years, that computers are intrinsically stupid. They only know what people put into them. So when we're looking through AI, we're basically looking for bits of information from everywhere. It's a fantastic tool, but it is a tool. And it'll even say on there, AI can make mistakes. Please confirm the data. When we're using a tool, we need to make sure that we recognize exactly what it is. No one credits a paintbrush for a beautiful portrait. No one praises a hammer for building a wonderful chair. No one praises a trowel for building a building. They're just tools. And if we can recognize AI as a tool, then we can take advantage of everything it brings to us. But it is just a tool, and we need to remember it's not going to take us over. There are no robots someplace looking to kill all the human beings, and transformers don't exist. So yes, I concur with you. It is a tool. It is something that we can use to enhance our Rotary life, our Rotary projects, our personal life, our professional life. I've used it in looking for material for lessons, even for RLI. So it is good, but we need not be afraid of it as long as we recognize the fact it is just a tool and it's not going to be perfect. The only perfect being on the planet is my wife. I can ask her, she's in the other room. Everybody else is fragile. And I'm teasing, of course, but We need to remember that it's a tool. Let's use it. Let's don't throw away the tool because we don't like the hammer, so we don't make any more wooden chairs. We don't build any more buildings because we're afraid of trowels. Let's use the tool and enjoy the fact that we have it.
Okay, so that's I would say that's fair. A small correction. You're right in saying that AI is a tool and it's all there, but uh, with the kind of data that we have used to teach it, it's it's now a genius. But it's not a
It's
genius
a smart tool.
it's a smart tool, exactly. It's not a dumb tool, nor is it a, a genius so much that it kind of would
Right.
take over the world or take over things,
Well,
because it
right.
doesn't have that motivation. We have not been
Exactly.
able to instill we haven't been able to instill emotion into it yet. It can reason. It can reason. It has uh, reasoning superpowers, but it does not have emotions, and
That's true.
it does not have any motivation to take over you or me.
Right.
It's just there waiting for instructions, and that's what
Exactly.
that's what prompts are all about. And AI is not a tool like what someone needs a course to learn. You see, there are right now two kinds of courses that are happening around. One is courses for users, which, sorry about that, courses for users, which I think is an, pardon my word, crap. It's an absolute crap. And the other one is courses for AI developers. Yeah, you need courses for AI developers. But if someone comes and tells you you need a course to learn how to use AI, please laugh at them, because AI is not like a software where you need codes and where you
Correct.
need a certain instructions, special instructions for you to do certain things. AI learns you.
Yeah.
AI understands you. It kind of learns you and it responds to you, and that's what AI is.
Correct.
AI is is like an assistant who is super smart. These days, even human assistants are dumb, but AI is not. AI is super smart, and it would learn you by observing you and responding to you in a smart way,
Correct.
super
Very
smart way.
correct.
Yeah, and make use of it and become more productive, become more, effective. Uh, AI is here to change the world in a better way, in the way you would want it to change the world. It is not going to dictate things to you in the other way. So there's nothing there to fear about AI. But yes, there are guardrails that need to be used, else, and you need to verify AI, because of uh, the data from which AI learns could be biased, number
Correct.
one. Number two, the data that AI learns from could be limited, and therefore it starts hallucinating.
Correct.
But that's been addressed by RAG, which I did mention about some time back. Yet, AI has its own limitations, because the data that gets into any kind of system is again limited. Not everything is online yet. We say that there's a lot of things online, there's a lot of data online, yes, but not everything is online yet. And therefore, AI has its limitation. there are ways that AI kind of absorbs information from your computer, from your cell phone, from various other sources. But AI needs a good algorithm for it to understand those things. And again, those algorithms are limited because the people who have made it are still using trial and error to modify that and refine that. And that's going to take time, and that's hence the limitation we are facing, but that's far beyond what we were doing, and that's what makes it so effective. Yes,
Okay,
Martin.
Martin's been having his hand up for quite a few minutes. Rakesh, let's ask Martin what he wants.
Okay, it's really following up on your comments, Patrick. I posted in the chat. I like your analogies regarding tools, and I think it's very valid. Having said that, if you think about that conceptually a bit further on, you've got a couple of things. One is, for example, have any of you heard of Tilly Norwood? Tilly Norwood has an AI generated actress who has been suggested that she will be nominated for an Oscar. And I think that actually, more or less, taking your analogy, Patrick, means that, does that mean the paintbrush has become the statue? Really, in that respect. The second one is I mentioned about the sort of the natural world model. We as humans can rationalize how we do things, but algorithms at the moment are limited by being an algorithm, in that
Right.
if you suggested to AI, it has been researched and suggested that if you actually suggest how do you cure mankind, then AI's answer would be to kill everybody, because that would solve the problem, which is the logical solution. So it works on a lot of logic, and those are the sort of things that I think fuel the naysayers. And I agree with you, Patrick. I think we should see them as tools, and we should actually regulate them as tools, and work that way. But
And as Rakesh said, we need to put the barriers up so we don't get lost in an AI world that is going to lead us into a space where we begin killing people. So you're right.
No, that's right. Yeah, but if it became, I mean, I agree with Rakesh's point that it's not going to become sentient in my lifetime. But if ever it became sentient, then that would actually be one of the things where we'd have to have guardrails, because unless it can overcome the pure logic, so the cure of a cancer is of a person is to kill them, which is logical. But not very friendly. But anyway, I pose those two thoughts for you as an alternative. Okay, thank you. Faisal.
Faisal, yeah, please, Faisal, please ask your question.
Hello, good evening. No, it's just a comment, because there was a recent study made about AI, where it would rather lie than to tell you that it doesn't know the answer. So an example I had recently is that I was planning an travel itinerary to Thailand from Bahrain. And the model, I used Gemini, told me that you have to use Emirates Airlines to get to Thailand. And I replied back, what about Gulf Air? And then the prompt said, oh, yes, you're absolutely correct. There are flights from Bahrain to Bangkok on Gulf Air, and here's the flights. So that's something that people should be careful, that it actually lies to you. And it's very dangerous if you're dependent on it.
That matters, deception and trust.
This is why Rakesh said we need to confirm.
Yes, exactly what I was trying to say. The thing is, when it has limitations, depending on the data sets that are being used to teach it. And Gemini or ChatGPT or any of those models that are present right now, the generative AI models, have a, a data time. They are not they don't use current data. And when you ask it a question that's connected to the current situation, it would try to hallucinate. And that's exactly what you were saying. It
Yeah.
starts lying, because it's not the algorithms are not set for it to say, no, I don't know, or I don't have this information. In most cases, in some cases, yes, but in most cases, it does not have. In some cases, because there are government regulations that prevent them from making any kind of statements, especially with regards to diagnosis or with regards to medical science claims, right? So those are government regulations, but in travel, it does not have that. And therefore, it kind of hallucinates. So that we'll have to be careful, but those things have been resolved now. And there are going to be future models that are going to come out with uh, RAG algorithms. And when they start coming out, you're going to have real-time information that are more accurate, and that's being solved. So as we speak, so that's something of the future. But for now, we just got to live with that. It's definitely not perfect, but there are ways, or rather, there are ways that we can use AI to the best of its abilities. It's like simple tools which you need to know. Like, for example, Patrick spoke about a hammer. When it's not perfect, but it's still usable. You need to just figure out a way to use it best, and you know improve and make your life more effective.
Rakesh, I would just like a small comment from you on data privacy and data security.
Yeah. So now, data privacy is definitely a concern. And when look, these are two different things as we look at it. Uh, Information that we share, as I told you, have to be uh, compartmentalized. That's where guardrails come into picture. You need to know how to secure your data from uh, AI using it or AI getting exposed to it. That's number one. There are no guarantees of data privacy, because even before AI came into picture, there was no guarantee about data privacy, because whatever information gets digitally recorded is never lost. It's always going to be there. So if you have some information there, out there in the internet or out there on your computer, and if your computer is online, there are all possible reasons for that to be exposed. Like the the president of Cisco once said, I always mention this in my class, there are only two kinds of computers: one that is hacked and one that you don't know is hacked.
Right.
So all computers are hacked. Otherwise, it goes back to those days when a computer could not be, what do you say, could not use the internet so much because of its outdated profile or configuration. And therefore, the current viruses cannot affect it. It's like what we see in Terminator 3. There was one system that never got hacked or never got, attacked. That is, and when they inquired of why that happened, they then realized it's an outdated system, and therefore that was the reason why it didn't get. But otherwise, everything is hacked. So keeping that in mind, all of our data may not be seen in the dark world or the dark web, but it's available somewhere for someone to see. There are some guys who try to do certain things by going in cognito mode, but that's not going to help, because cognito mode is only for you to not see certain things, but on the other side, everything is seen. There are people who use, I think, the browser called as BuckBuck, which they say that is very private and all that, but it's not true. On the other side of your system, the internet is wide open, and everything that you do is all available for the people who know how to grab that information. There are a lot of, even in AI right now, AI, even if your camera is switched off, it's watching you. Even if your microphones are switched off, it's listening to you. And there is everything that is happening around that's getting collected. And all of that data is being used for analysis to understand you and to learn about you. So it's basically feeding the AI bot to learn more about the environment. And that information is collected in the cloud. The cloud is secure for them, the cloud service providers. Whether it's secure for us or not, it's a question. That information gets sold to companies.
No.
That information gets used by companies to sell you stuff. How private that is again a question mark. WhatsApp says that it's it's encrypted end to end. WhatsApp says that the only two people who can view it are either the recipient or the sender. But do we have guarantees? Because whatever is happening on the WhatsApp server, because what's being shown to you and what's being operated on is the client. The client can be compromised, because at the end of the tunnel, there can always be compromises. And at the same time, whatever is happening on the server is exposed to the administrators. Usually, the databases need to be encrypted, and there's something called as constant encryption, which is an ongoing process. But what's the guarantee? There are no guarantees there. Because we don't have visibility on how WhatsApp is operating and how or what kinds of rights are given to the WhatsApp administrators. We don't have any guarantees on that. So if someone claims about data privacy, it's always going to be a question mark. There's always going to be a question mark. There's absolutely no guarantee there. When we talk about security, we are responsible for our own security. We cannot depend on a third party for any kind of security there, because there are no guarantees again. So we need to have systems in place, guardrails, as I was talking about, that we need to apply. Guardrails are of many kinds. Guardrails are with regards to the algorithms that need to be regulated. Guardrails with regards to laws and accountability that need to be set in the industry. Guardrails with regards to personal security and security of data that's being collected. Guardrails on what kind of data needs to be collected and what should not be collected, and what kind of transparency do we have to ensure that these things are taken care of. Guardrails to ensure what kind of decision making. There is something called as, what do you say, uh, uh, you know, uh, audits, audits on AI algorithms to have XAI in place where where there is more accountability and assurance that the algorithms are not compromised, because AI can be weaponized by AI can be the algorithms especially can be weaponized and used against populations. Now there are many compromises when it comes to uh, fake news. The filters are not good enough, and therefore we have conflicts happening in various regions. It's because of the kind of propaganda that was used, or because of the kind of fake news that were created in those areas. So, keeping these things in mind, we need to have AI, which can be a great influencer, especially to the youth, to be controlled. AI is a wonderful tool for economic development. The future of technology is connected to AI, and to protect AI cybersecurity. And a part of cybersecurity is also privacy. Quantum computers are going to be platforms on which AI is going to be working on. We are going to have AI defined networks, AI defined softwares. 6G is going to be managed and work with AI. Keeping all of this in mind, the cloud infrastructure is going to be working based on AI. Keeping all of this, AI is the future. And therefore, we need to equip our youth with AI, but we need to also build security. And for that, guardrails need to be implemented.
Gul has a question online. He says, can we create some tools to keep away fake news?
Yes, the Rotary Peace Corps right now in certain areas uh, is working with us in trying to regulate this part. We are trying to work on, uh, filtering news, and at the same time, not manipulating it, but filtering it. So we with AI, which is not humanly possible, and therefore we are using AI. We try to look at every. It's not by compromising privacy again, but we try to listen to everything that's happening. Uh, this was used and implemented by the government of Libya in the mid 90s during Gaddafi's time. Uh, and this was used in many other countries as well. So Libya was not the only country using that. So, but they were using this by ensuring that uh, certain expressions get diminished at its source. So we're trying to work on similar algorithms to ensure that certain things that could uh, uh, raise certain reactions gets diminished even before it gets communicated. So you're working on those things. That's one thing that we can think of. The other thing is news filtering. Certain things could be misunderstood by the way it's being said because of regional uh, differences in certain expressions, and therefore we translate that rather than uh, interpret it in a different way. And that's another thing that we do. And certain words trigger certain uh, sentiments, and therefore those words get I would say, filtered or censored when being used and communicated online. So the online platforms that are right now commonly used, like Twitter, uh, Facebook, Instagram, and many others, are the common platforms on which most of these communications happen, including WhatsApp and Telegram and so many others, Snapchat. So we try to use, but we have our own limitations, but we're trying to cover everything. Uh, it's a work in progress. That's the only way things can be done.
Thank you. Thank you, Rakesh. Anybody has any question, please raise your hand. One more question, we'll take it up before moving ahead. No? So thank you, friends. Thank you, Rakesh, for a wonderful session. I now request our Sergeant at Arms, Adonis, to propose a vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Chairman Vijay. On behalf of the board of the Rotary Fellowship of Rotarians on Internet, I would like to acknowledge the chairman of the Rotary IT Fellowship, IT Professional Fellowship, Rakesh Babuji, for a very comprehensive expose. Despite all the nitty-gritties of AI, that is quite take a long time to really discuss. He has taken time to at least enlighten us on not it being a problem, but an opportunity for us, and how to apprehend this process of AI being integrated in our daily life, including in making Rotary an impactful organization. And also, I would like to acknowledge Gomati, who is a founding member of the same fellowship, and also both of them very much ensuring the collaboration between both the IT Professional Fellowship and the Rotary Action Group for Economic Development. They're also extending this kind of cooperation to our chairman Vijay on behalf of the Rotarian on Internet Fellowship. Thank you for this effort of cooperation. I would like to acknowledge all the visitors visiting us for the first time. We have our website, www.rotifellowship.org. Registration is free. You can be a member like our own chairman Vijay, as many as 125 and counting, and more fellowships. There's no limitation. Make sure that you join us in collaborating and making sure that we have a growing family with more knowledge shared on the internet on the issues at stake, IT, AI, and also economic impact. I'd like to also acknowledge our good friends from the various districts and countries. We can see Martin from the E-Club of Innovation. We have AG Faisal from the district 2452. And of course, we're celebrating our own Najoti Bolapragada today, who's celebrating her birthday. We wish her a very, very happy birthday. And thank you for joining us, Eugene, Madhu, and all the rest. And of course, our own Tom, who's with us. And I cannot mention everybody. Thank you for this wonderful moment. Chairman Rakesh Babuji, and let's continue this cooperation. Chairman Vijay, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Adonis. And
Yes.
Nagjyoti, wishing you a very happy birthday. And Rakesh, yes, we look forward, as Adonis has said, we look forward to collaborate more and try and work more for the benefit of the community as a whole, Rotary in particular. So I will keep in touch with you guys and let us collaborate. Friends, the next technical meeting we are planning would be around 12th of January, because we have a bi-monthly meeting. So we would be announcing the details. Martin, the program committee chairman, would be announcing further details in due course. So kindly block your date, 12th of January, same time. And thank you very much for joining. Once again, a request to join Roti if you are not already a member on rotifellowships.org. Martin, you want to say something?
No, I was just waving goodbye.
Okay, bye. Chalo.
I was waving goodbye to
Okay,
everybody.
fine. I'm formally ending the meeting. We can wait here.